Yo, 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 what is up? Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. It's your boy Sturls. And this is a Friday edition of Intentional Grounding. Me and my dog Rob, we're going to give it to you straight facts today. We're going to talk some Buffalo Bills. We're going to talk some college football. We're just going to come in here and kick it with you guys. So whatever you're doing, if you're getting some deals on Black Friday, continue to do so, but you can listen to us as well. How you doing, Rob? Can't hear. Your mic is muted, dog.
What's going on, man?
There it is. There you go, dog. I was like, yo, your mic's muted.
Yeah, I blew my nose while we were doing the intro, and I muted it for that, and then forgot to unmute it. But hey, what's up, dog?
Hey,
Happy
don't let it
Thanksgiving.
be one of those forgetful days for you now. You too young for that.
So I texted you at what 11:40, something like that, Mountain Time. And I'm like, hey, we do it noon today, and you're like, yeah. Do you need more time? I'm like, no, noon's fine. I was in bed. Dog, I slept well last night for the first time in weeks, and I was just laying. Man, I rolled over. I turned on the Buffs game at like 10 o'clock, rolled over, and fell back asleep, and all of a sudden I woke up. It's 11:40. I'm like, oh, my God, I got to get out of bed. What happened?
There's nothing wrong with that, man. Like that when you feel good because you slept well, like there's no recipe for that, man. That's what's up.
It's a good holiday day to have. You know what I mean? Just that
It is.
sweet relief of sleep. How's your Thanksgiving going? What you doing there?
Well, Turkey Day was good. The fam, we chilled. I spatchcocked a turkey.
Okay.
I did. Spatchcock, 48-hour brine, 24-hour on the wet, 24 on the dry. Dog, it was good. It was good.
Because I mean, you've talked shit about some Thanksgivings before, so I'm curious. Who you like.
Well, so here's the deal. So there's some members of the family who don't know what seasoning is. Okay, and
so it's interesting that you say it like that because you're acting like you didn't say that about my mom too, and about all white people. So I feel like
now there's some who do know how to do that. But there was some stuffing made. I won't say who made it. Let's just say not it. And I'm being very vague right now, just in case,
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Just so who did you let cook for you yesterday? Like,
I mean,
stuffing got made by somebody else. Clearly,
it was a mosh posh. So I did like the main stuff. So like, me and Jenna, I brought the turkey. Jenna made a salad and a couple other things. I made gravy, stuff like that. Sometimes, like in the past 2 years, I've done it all, right? But mother-in-law was like, we don't want you to do all the work, son. Like, we'll just do some. And so there were some other members of the family who contributed and whatever. And someone made stuffing that I thought tastes like dirt and bricks. So, hey, but you know what was the best part about it, though?
You're so terrible. That we get to spend loving time together with our families?
Yeah, that's right. I'm a big cranberry in a can guy. So I bought cranberry sauce, stuck it in the fridge. And, my mother-in-law, she's like, how do you do this? I'm like, you just open the can and plop it on a plate. And
that's it. I want to see the ribs still on there.
get a butter knife and go to town. And that's what happened, man. So no, it was real good.
Is that one of the few foods? Like, I'm trying to think of foods that are better cheap than they are expensive, right? Like if somebody makes like a real fancy cranberries dish, not doing it. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But if you get me the canned cranberry, open that thing up and hear it vacuum seal out of the can. Yeah.
Slaps.
Just hear it.
Dog, it is the best, dog. It really is the best. Paired with fresh, good turkey on a roll and a sandwich today. Yeah, I'm gonna do that for sure.
I can do a little bit of cranberry with everything, man. You put it with the stuffing, you put it with the mashed potatoes.
Yes.
Little slice of the jelly. Oh yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. No, it's good stuff, dude. So today,
good.
last night I had a little Colorado. Let's see how you want to say this. Edible. I had an edible last night,
Oh, look at
and
you.
life was just splendid,
So,
bruh.
so you slept as well as I did.
Oh yeah, dog. I mean, I woke up at 6:30, but I wake up early every day,
Yeah.
right? And I'm just loving life. The house is quiet, it's just wonderful. Can't complain.
You know why the house was quiet and everything felt wonderful? Because the Dolphins got spatchcocked last
Oh,
night too. And our boys, Sunday night football with some light snow falling and a national audience can claim their fifth straight AFC East title on December, what is it, 2nd, 1st, something like that? I mean, come on.
yes. I mean,
Let's go.
the cool thing about it. Well, we can go with the Dolphins first. I made money off the Dolphins last night, as I told you before we started. Those live drive prop bets. Just I was just like, they're gonna punt, and sure enough, poof, one. They're gonna punt again. Poof, two. It was just like money keeps coming in. I'm like, yo, I really like this, but football weather on Sunday Night Football. Are you kidding me? In Buffalo,
It's not going to be bad either. I mean,
yeah,
all these people who are talking about like a snowstorm. No, man, it is a foot over 3 days that they're getting. Like
yeah.
we've canceled games when it was a foot in 3 hours. So, but yeah, it should be a beautiful game to watch. You know what I mean? You want that snow game with some flakes falling, and the Niners are an interesting team, but go take care of business. You know what I mean? You should beat them. You should beat them. Go take care of business.
Yeah, I mean, you got to come in here and, I mean, first of all, who's playing? Like, who is playing for the 49ers this Sunday? Kittle is going to play. We learned this week that Fred Warner, all-pro linebacker, broke his ankle, and he's been playing on that. That guy is super tough. And then you got and I'm not the injuries guys, but like Brock Purdy threw one pass yesterday or the day before, and it's just like, man, you go, okay, like who's actually going to play? Because I mean, that's going to be a big deal. Like those are some serious injuries that they're dealing with. Christian McCaffrey not looking 100% as he's coming back from injury. So, I mean, there's an opportunity here where you can, like, I expect you to beat these boys by at least 10 points or more. Like, this is not, this
Well,
is
it
not
depends
a
who
great
plays,
football
right?
team that they're playing against.
It depends who plays.
Right.
Because if you're in a situation where there's no Bosa, there's no Purdy, there's no Kittle, there's no Williams, then yeah, you should beat them by 15.
Yeah.
But if you're in a situation where all those guys play, and listen, like you said, the Fred Warner fracturing his ankle thing is interesting, but also, at what point do the Niners have an obligation to be like, dude, shut it down? You know what I mean? Like go get yourself. I know you're trying to fight through for us, but you got to get healthy. Because even if we make the playoffs, like we need you for the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like,
That's a good point.
But they're so far behind right now that they can't afford to shut it down, really. Now, here's the thing. No one's run away with that division. I mean, even if there was a team with 8 wins, maybe you'd be a little bit, nervous or something like that. I think the Seahawks are leading that division with 6 wins. So
yeah, I think, and they're only one game back. Niners are.
Right. And so, like, maybe you do want to push it a little bit. It's just an interesting scenario that they're in. And you're talking all pros, these are all pros who might play, might not play when you're talking about Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. You know what I mean? It's so.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, man. I mean, we haven't seen this Bills team in 2 weeks. I feel like it takes them a half to get going after the bye. So we'll see, what kind of start they come out with. I mean, I expect this team to take advantage of some of San Francisco's inefficiencies on defense. I mean, this is not a San Francisco team that is being carried by their defense by any stretch of the means. I mean, that defensive line is just not what it once was.
Well, and maybe without Bosa.
Yep. Yeah, Javon Hargrove Grave is not playing. So
You go to
man,
the back end. Who's the backer who tore his Achilles during the Super Bowl?
uh,
Greenlaw,
yeah,
right? Wasn't that Greenlaw? Greenlaw, Warner's on a broken ankle. Charvarius Ward, a horrible story. I don't know if
yeah,
you saw that.
yeah.
He lost his very young
That's
daughter
so sad, man.
to heart disease. So he's back practicing with the team, but won't make the trip. Yeah, I mean the defense is pieces of itself, and that's why Green Bay hung 31 last week. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And you should be able to do the same thing if they're still as beat up as they were last week.
yeah, man. And on the Bills front, they come out and said this morning Dalton Kincaid is not playing, so I guess he's still nursing that
Yeah.
knee.
Yeah, let's take a second on that. Does that worry you?
It does. It does. Because just for the simple fact that, he was able to come back in the game that when he got hurt, but he said he couldn't really, he didn't want to risk it anymore. So you're thinking, okay, well, all right, so you're gonna miss the next game and then the bye. So I'm thinking, okay, he should be ready to go after the bye. And then to hear that, and it's like, okay, well, why didn't y'all put him on IR then? Like, because that's 4 weeks, right? Technically.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It just doesn't look good. I mean,
why would you let's speculate a little bit here, which I know you're not supposed to do, but let's speculate just a little bit here. Think about the type of injury that you could have that you would say to yourself, oh, maybe he could play sooner than 4 weeks. So we don't want to put him on IR. Right? And then as time goes along, he is in too bad of shape to play, and you should have put him on IR. And when you think about that, it makes me think things like meniscus.
That's what I was about to get to.
Right? Is there a partial tear of something in there? So it's interesting because I don't think a lot of people know. I do have to repeat it often, but sprains are tears, right? It's just not a tear clean through whatever it is.
Right.
So if he's got a MCL sprain or an ACL sprain, it makes you wonder how bad that injury really is. And it does concern me. I understand Knox has played well in his stead, but it definitely worries me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, you need that ability to stabilize that knee. You got to cut and run routes, and I mean that really is gonna put a limit or a box on his game because he does those things well. So, yeah, man, it's like, okay, so with that information, and we're just speculating here, but I'm thinking maybe 2 to 3 more weeks, right? Like,
I mean, if that's the case, though, and I did want to get into this at some point, so I don't want to. I mean, if you want to do it now, I guess we can. But we were going to talk about injuries, and I stopped you. These next 2 to 3 weeks are the ones that are important, and so if he's out 2 to 3 more weeks just to get healthy, why not just sit him till the playoffs? Because the last 3 games you're talking about are Patriots, Jets, Patriots. So unless you need to prove that he can function be high functioning on that knee, and maybe you bring him back for one of those games just to see him at game speed and make sure it's okay, why wouldn't you just sit him for the last 6 weeks and bring him back for the playoffs?
Man, but see, here's I know I get what you're saying. But part of me is like, man, I feel like he needs to be on the field with Josh just for the timing. The timing between those two this season haven't been great.
No,
and so,
it hasn't.
It's like, okay, I get what you're saying though. It's like, okay, just figure it out in the playoffs. You got Dawson, so you don't have to rush back. But part of me is like, man, he's an integral part of this offense. You kind of need him, but again, like he hasn't really done much.
His most important aspect in this offense has been pulling coverages. Right? Moving that center of the field. And so guys like Shakir are open enough that they can create a lot of yak yards. Guys like Dawson Knox can catch a 25-yard pass. You know what I mean? That's really what he's been doing, is shifting coverages around. It happened a lot at the beginning of the year. It's been happening less lately, but when he was healthy,
Right.
it was happening less as the year went on. But I think personally, even if you just bring him back in the playoffs, he'll still pull some coverages. And if he doesn't, then feed him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. I mean, that was just my thought on his injury. And like I said, I do want to talk about the next 3 weeks versus the last 3 weeks. But I just think if it's that bad, then sit him for 5 games.
Yeah.
Give him 2 months. You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
So he's healthy for the playoffs. I mean, the benefit of all that is, again, we mentioned, Dawson Knox is great. He's a great backup. But
Worth
then
$9 million?
No, but maybe 3 or 4. I give him that. But
well, here's the thing: if they win the Super Bowl this year, with the fact that he has been a can of Flex Seal for that offense when they lost Dalton Kincaid, and even when they were just struggling with Dalton,
yeah,
I think that makes it worth it. Even though we all hate that number, I think it makes it worth it.
Nah, man. Yeah, I hate that number. I mean, there's got to be something. You feel like terrible asking a guy to take a hometown discount. You know what I mean? But him and Josh are like thick as thieves. So,
yeah.
But 9 is too rich. 9's too rich for me. I wouldn't have given him that extension in the first place. But hey, but guess what? We might be getting Keon Coleman back in the fold. Amari Cooper a couple weeks healthier. I think that'll be nice. So again, it goes back to the point. You don't have to rush him back. You could just take your time, get back in the flow of things, and we'll see you in the playoffs, bro.
Do you want to talk about these all individually or more as a whole?
Ooh, I think they deserve to be individually, because Cooper. We didn't really talk about Cooper's impact after the Chiefs game,
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Not enough. Not enough.
Listen, man, I said 100 times, and I'll say it 100 more. Him making those one-handed catches. That is what Trent Sherfield dropped in the playoff game. And it's the difference between a win and a loss. You won by 2 scores because he made those 2 catches. I firmly believe that. I think if Trent Sherfield makes those 2 catches in the playoff game, you win by 2 scores.
I don't appreciate you being honest. I'll tell you that right now.
So it's important for Coop. Like, good. I'm glad he's 2 weeks healthier. But as long as he can do what he did in that game and just make a couple plays to shift their coverage around, because the first play he made was on their rookie corner, whose name I forget. And then the second play, did you notice who was on him?
McDuffie.
Trent McDuffie, right? So if he can make 1 or 2 of those plays and pull their best corner and then do nothing the rest of the game, totally fine. Totally fine with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense, and it'd be nice if Keon Coleman was available too. I mean, just before he got injured, I mean, he was trending in a very, very nice direction. I mean, just improvement week after week. So having him back, hopefully this week, I think will be great. This is a great opportunity for Keon to come in, if he's able to play, against a maligned 49ers defense, where he can kind of get back in the swing of things, get a little production. It would be very, very nice.
He worries me.
Why is that?
2 reasons. One, when you're a rookie like that and you're vibing a little bit, like you're feeling it, which he was. He was playing great. I feel like you lose something a little bit when you're out of the lineup for that long. Being injured in the NFL is tough. You're not with your boys. You're not on. You're working off to the side. It's just every pro athlete, especially NFL player I've talked to, has told me being injured is tough mentally, right? So he's already going through his rookie year. Now he's got to deal with being injured a little bit. I wonder how he comes back and how it works. And I also am scared about McDermott and the rookie effect. Is he going to slow play him too much, getting back into the lineup where it affects his confidence a little bit? Because Sean has been known to do that. Like, we're fine right now. We're not going to put too much on the rookie. No, man, that's not what I want to see. What I want to see is you put him back in the lineup and throw him 10 balls. That's what I want to see.
And I think you'll see that.
I think
you'll see that. Well, let me tell you why. Because, let's take a little trip back to memory lane. Let's go back to the Tennessee game or the Dolphins game, in Buffalo, where he had toward the goal line, he missed that ball, intercepted by Jalen Ramsey. That was a humbling moment for him, and Sean put him right back out there, and they didn't have to. And I feel like that's been, you look at the ball that hit his head in Houston. Like, he's had these little rookie blunder mistakes, and the team seems, when he's healthy, he's been getting the most snaps just about of the wide receivers on offense. So I think they throw him out there knowing, like, if we slow play him, it's a detriment to the team. We need to get him out there and so he can work out all the kinks. Because Josh Allen was really getting comfortable.
I think it's a detriment to his development too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? Like, it's not just the team. I think it's a detriment to his development. I agree with what you said, but also that was after him making mistakes. Mm-hmm. This is after him having an injury, and I feel like that might be a little different.
Have we ever seen Sean do that, though?
Slow play somebody after an injury?
Yeah.
All the time.
Who are we? Let's see. Who are we thinking of here?
Well, Micah Hyde didn't play in the game that we lost to the Bengals in the playoffs, but said he could have played and they would have played him next week. Right? It's situations like that. And I know, yes, you want to be careful with the health of your players.
Though. It's a neck. I mean, that's
you want to be healthy. I'm not necessarily taking shots at him.
No, I know.
I'm just wondering that even if Coleman comes back, do they slow play him a little bit and only give him so many snaps? And I think that's bad for his development.
Quite possibly. Here's the thing. If Sean gets in his head about Mac Hollins, and this is not a slight against Mac Hollins, but Mac has been playing really well in the absence of Keon, and he's had moments even while Keon was on the field. So it's like, okay, Mac Hollins now has this momentum going with him. He's a fourth phase special teamer. Sean likes his veterans too. So, I guess that's a storyline that's going to unfold as we get to Sunday and throughout the night. Because now that, we're talking about it, I am kind of worried, like, okay, what's his usage going to be now? Because it was like last year, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, like, okay, so.
And even Shakir coming off the injuries, Charles.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a couple weeks until you saw them with the quick throw, screen pass, blah, blah, blah. And again, same thing. That's an ankle, right? So maybe you're trying to be more careful because you don't think he's got kind of the cutting ability or speed that he normally has. Sure. You know what I mean? I get it. At the same time, you slow played him back. I feel like he's more of a vet, and I feel like he had more confidence in what he was doing, and so he was able to handle that. I think if you do that to Coleman, you could work on his mindset a little bit. You know what I mean? Which they have coached people through before. So it's not like I'm incredibly nervous about that, but it was just something to watch for me.
Yeah, I think it's something to monitor as well. Matt Milano is listed as questionable. That's one that I want to see so bad. Where, like, I want to know, like, I don't know if you saw, was it Matt Bove or somebody or Alex Brasky? The video of Matt Milano, he was saying that he's good to go or he's feeling better and he doesn't know if he's playing this week, but he feels good. Like, I'm like, man, for a guy that is never in front of a camera, to get him on saying that,
did you hear how short it was?
Extremely short in a only Matt Milano way makes you go, okay, this dude's playing on Sunday. I just think he's gonna play this Sunday. How much, I don't know, But I mean, that's a significant upgrade over Dorian
I hope a
Williams.
lot. I hope a lot. I really do. Because I think, unlike Kincaid and unlike, well, I guess it's a little bit like Coleman, unlike Kincaid, um, I think he needs the 5 games to get right for the
Yeah,
playoffs. You know
yeah,
what I mean? I think he needs the 5 or 6 games to really get his feet back underneath him. And I had heard whisperings that the knee in that time that he had off got even better.
yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not,
Absolutely. I
but
mean, I can't tell you that. I mean, I had the same injury as Matt, um, and I can only tell. I'm not the athlete he is, or etc. But it's like
don't talk about yourself like that.
But I could tell you what I could tell you is a tibia plateau fracture is no joke,
Yeah.
and it's a clean break. It's unlike an ACL where it's a stability thing. With that injury, it's more of a weight balance kind of thing where you're trying to figure out, okay, can I trust my hamstrings and the muscles around the knee and the leg to really keep me supported? Like there shouldn't be a hit. There's not a hitch in your run and your gait, but it's just like when you're trying to stop real quick and that weight comes down on those knees and moving
Mm-hmm.
forward, that's where it kind of gets a little iffy. So I think the bicep injury could very much be, we've talked about this, a blessing in disguise where he's had all this time now to just keep rehabbing that leg and getting it right. So
Well, and what I heard specifically was working on his explosiveness.
mhm,
You know what I mean? And that's something that does only come back with time.
right.
So if he was able to really push his weightlifting regiment, which if you talk to pro athletes, in the season, it is maintenance. It is not, you know what I mean? You're not putting on
Right.
weight. You're not trying to do anything to um, overdo it, right? You're just trying
Mhm.
to maintain the weight that you have. He didn't have to do that. Instead, he could go in and go hard in the weight room and really work on that explosiveness with the trainers, even while his arm was immobilized. You know what I mean? So I, maybe a blessing in disguise, like you said. But dog, am I so excited to see him out on that field? I
Oh
can't
yeah,
even
man.
tell you the linebacker wood that I have to watch those two guys play together. And I think we need to talk about it because we need to talk about your boy. But I just, God, he is incredible. And if he can get back to what he was, to have him with a fully formed and fully confident TB next to him, because the only times they played together, Terrell Bernard was a 3rd-round pick and a question mark. Like, we were worried about TB
Yeah.
when they played together.
Yep.
And since that time, he has turned into an all-pro. And so if you can get them next to each other actually playing at an all-pro level, like, oh my God.
I mean,
I'm
Rob,
a kid in a candy store.
and for those of you watching the show, Rob is a former linebacker. Okay, so
I
you
mean,
can kind of see his.
I just played the position. I'm not like,
Okay, but still, it matters. It's one of those things where having those two together, I mean, you see the all 22, how much communication is coming from Terrell Bernard to the defense, right? And it's a lot, play after play after play. And we even saw Terrell get on Taron Johnson on that
yeah,
touchdown pass a
yes.
couple weeks
I thought
ago.
I thought that was super interesting. That's a
Yep.
great point.
Yep. And so I think having Matt back there, even though Matt's not calling the defense, Matt knows it, inside and out. He's only going to help Terrell communicate, which is, I mean, we're talking, being able to make up tenths of a second of a play because you're more ready than prepared is huge for two linebackers trying to build that cohesion. I mean, so it's yeah, we'll see what happens.
Couple things about that because it's a great point. First thing is, it's good that they had some time in camp together
Mm-hmm.
before he got injured, because that practice time, we haven't seen them play a game together in 2 years, but that like 3 weeks of practice time, that matters
Yeah.
for their communication together. And I guess what I want to get to is what makes Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes so great.
Oh, it's
It's
that
not that they're
timing and chemistry, baby.
right. It's not that they're freak athletes. It's not that they're, you know, whatever. What it is they both see the game the same way, so they don't have to talk about it, right? That's and Travis Kelce has said this in interviews a ton. I don't know if I've ever heard Patrick say it, but they just Travis used to play quarterback. He sees the field like a quarterback. He understands route concepts, and he just finds holes and ways to kill you. And Patrick Mahomes sees the same exact thing, so he knows what he's going to do and throws him the ball. If you can get that with two linebackers, two killers in the middle of your defense, that kind of, I know Milano is going to see this and be there. That, you know, Milano thinking, I know TB is going to see that hole and fire through. You know what I mean? Just knowing what the other guy is going to be doing makes such a huge difference. And like, there were times I felt like you can see it, and I think this is why I was more hard on Dorian Williams than you were, because I felt like there were times I was watching, and did Dorian Williams see it? Sure. Did he eventually make the right play? Yes. But that 10th of a second that you're talking about, I felt like I could see TB hesitating. Like,
yeah,
does Dorian see it? Because I need him to see it before I do. And so if Dorian's not going to do what he's supposed to do, then I've got to wait a second before I take a chance here.
Yep.
And if he doesn't have that hesitation, the two of them together are just going to be murderers. Like, I cannot tell you how excited
I know.
I am. They are going to be murderers. I want to see it so bad.
Yeah, just to think, the second level of your defense is stacked with all pros, because you'd have three. Taron Johnson, I consider him obviously second line of the defense, and Milano and Ben Terrell Bernard. I mean, you're talking, that's a trio. That's game-changing difference right there. Like, those guys together, just the multiplicity that you can have in that defense is it opens your playbook so much now. It opens it up so much. So I think he's going to play. Man, I don't have any information on that. I just think, you know, like, why did you – I mean, we did hear that the window for him was going to be, you know, they were going to do that, you know, quite soon, because they thought, okay, yeah, Milano is going to be back a little earlier than they initially thought. That's what happened. Now we're at the end of it, and it's like, dude, you're playing. He's got to be playing.
Yeah. I don't think they would do all this and not play him.
Right.
I think it would be not only, unless they have already told the team, like, coming into the week, when you first show up for practice, like, listen, there are going to be a lot of signs that Matt's playing. We are not going to play him this week. Do not tell anybody. Unless they did that, I think it'll be a huge letdown for the team too, if you don't activate him and play him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I think it's a huge morale boost just to have him out there, just to hear the crowd go absolutely bonkers when he walks on the field. He's going to raise the level of play of that entire defense, man. And it's not like, you know, let's be real too. It's not like he's coming back from an ACL, right?
Yeah.
So the explosion that we alluded to earlier, he should have that. I mean, he's a little bit far removed now from that injury, and the extra time that he's had this season because of that bicep injury, he should be ready to go.
I mean, he's a year and 3 months removed from an injury that is an 8-week recovery time.
Well, it's more than that. Yeah, it's more than that.
I mean, I understand it was serious, right?
Yeah,
but
it's
if we're not talking about playing football, right?
Okay.
I'm talking about just like in general.
Okay.
It's an 8-week recovery time.
Yeah, it's 8 to 12. Yeah.
And so, yes, to get back up to football speed, you're talking more, 5 months, 6 months, something like that. But in terms of like the actual healing of what it is, it's 8 weeks, it's 12 weeks, something like that. He is now a year and 2-3 months removed from that injury. I mean, he should be full speed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that injury was so painful. Excited. That injury is so painful, dog. It is painful. You lose like 15 pounds. You look it up.
You
You
do?
yeah, you
Maybe I
lose
want to.
dog.
Maybe
There
I'll fracture both of them.
yeah, dog, you lose like 15 pounds. I don't know, it's this weird science thing, but yeah, it's like look it up. Tibia plateau fracture weight loss. It's like a real fucking thing. But
I believe it. I believe it. Any of
uh
those where you gotta, you know, struggle to move, even.
yeah. So let's talk about what kind of offense should we expect from the Bills coming out of the bye. I mean, Josh Allen is on a pace to where he could see his first hardware in the offseason, which will be an MVP. I mean, Curtis Samuel, I think we kind of forgot about him the last few weeks. He's played really well. He played really well against Kansas City. You're starting to see that connection with him coming along, and I think, okay, so if you're telling me if I can get Curtis Samuel, that same Curtis Samuel with Keon Coleman and whatever Shakir is doing, and it seems like he gets better and better. Amari Cooper, I mean, this offense could be like the best offense that they've had since the Emmanuel Sanders days here, right? Like that. I mean, we're talking explosiveness everywhere. Like he's got a cupboard of guys that could just get it done.
Well, and we mentioned it on the show last week. If you get 5 for 50 from Samuel every week, take Tutty out. If you get 5 from 50 for Samuel every week, that offense is going to absolutely churn. Now, here's the thing that worries me just a little bit, right? Shakir has found a home with those behind the line or at the line of scrimmage, screen passes, quick hitters, slants, those kinds of things. He has been killing in yak yards, right? Yards after contact and yards after catch, both of them. That to me is where I feel like they were trying to get Samuel to live in the beginning of the season.
Right.
Here's what I'm going to start with what worries me and then go to what excites me. What worries me is that now that you've seen a couple good performances from Samuel, that they try to feed him that same way. And that's what they were doing at the beginning of the year, and it didn't work. It didn't work.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Then when they started to move his route tree a little bit further down the field, maybe he was fully healthy, right? Maybe we weren't giving that enough credit. We did mention, he's injured, but we also just kind of were like, yeah, well, I mean, it still looks pretty bad. So if they move his route tree 3 to 5 yards down the field and hit him on those crossers, you start calling those on offense, we call them rubs. I call them picks because I was a defensive guy. But I mean, KC was fired up, and so was Twitter about that touchdown pass that he caught. Well, they didn't call it. So, you know what I mean? What are you going to do? And if you have a vet receiver like Mac Hollins, who's real good about getting in people's way and making just the slightest bit of contact, but not making it obvious or apparent, then great. You know what I mean? Then do it. And if you start giving him those type of routes, I think there's room for him to be very effective there. So, the big concern for me is just how they use him. If they try to go back and take those quick hitters away from Shakir and try to split those quick hitters that they call between Samuel and Shakir, well, then I'm not crazy about it. But if you let Shakir be Shakir and eat, and you find 5 for 50 for Samuel, that's going to be, they're going to be moving, dog.
Yeah, man. And the funny thing is, we haven't talked about the offensive line, and we haven't even talked about what we have at running back. I mean, this offense it's pretty good. I mean, Spencer Brown coming back into the lineup, that's going to be nice. Just, I think that's going to open up their run game a ton.
I was going to say, don't you feel like it affected their run game?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, yes and no. Like, Kansas City's a really good run defensive team. Having him there would have helped. I don't know how much more production they would have gotten out of it. Maybe they could have sprung a couple, big runs, I guess. Big runs, I'm talking, 20 yards and in, right? So yeah, I mean, having him back, I mean, that the offensive line's based off of timing. So I mean, you can only imagine what his impact was. I mean, I did feel like Ryan Vandermark did a good job. I mean, he's not Spencer Brown, but he did a good job in his absence.
He did all right, but he's also not gonna. I feel like when they need to move the ball, and there's no slight on Dion, maybe more of a slight on Edwards, but I feel like when they need to move the ball, they go to that right side of the line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is they. Where's the beef, right?
Yeah.
And Brown is a huge, gigantic human being, and so is Osiris Torrance.
Right.
And so, you know what I mean? Like, I just think that was kind of their go-to by default, and I felt like they didn't have it. I felt like they didn't have the we need 3 yards. We're going to run this play. Last game that they had through that portion of the year, and honestly, I don't think you can sustain long term like that, because what that means is you're gonna have to rely on Josh using his legs more when you can't just call run plays and do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a physicality element to that right side of the line when you have Spencer Brown in the lineup paired with Osiris Torrance, and it's pretty formidable. I mean, those guys are pretty good together in terms of power and being people movers in the run game. So, yeah, not having him there is you lose something. It's going to be nice to see him back in the fold and what that run game looks like, especially against this San Francisco team. Quite frankly, I'm not worried about what they offer against the run.
Did you hear what he said too? I loved what he said.
Who's that? Spencer Brown?
Yeah.
Nah, what'd he say?
So he said he could have played last week, but chose not to because he felt like he couldn't protect 17 the way that he needed to. I kind of love that.
Yeah.
I kind of love that. Like, you want these guys, them caring about each other.
Yeah.
Matters so much. And it was part of the vibe of that 2020 team and part of the vibe of that 2021 team where, you know, we were like, vibes are good, check them out in practice, they love each other, all this stuff. You know, Spencer being like, and granted it's his job, so he's saying, I couldn't really do my job. And that's a mature thing to say, but I just feel like the vibes are high again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and Dave says glad Brown said he wasn't ready. Yeah, man, that's a good point there, Rob. You know, them admitting, hey, you know, I can get Josh Allen hurt if I'm not at my best, right? Because Josh is relying on me, and you know he's Josh Allen. He's going to do things off script. We need to put the best guy out there to protect him at all costs. And I was like, I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot.
I really do. I really do. And I don't know that everybody would have said that. You know what I mean? Because there's personal things at stake too, right? Like, I don't know what's in his new contract, but I'm sure he's got snap counts or something in there.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one game probably won't hurt that. But if he does get injured later in the year and he took the one game before that off, you know, like, then maybe it doesn't work quite as well. And maybe he does miss a snap count, something. So it was just really unselfish of him and showed, I think, how tight that team is. So I like that a lot from him.
And this is not an injury show, but what's the status of DeWayne Carter? I know, you know, he was listed as questionable as well. Be nice to see him come back. I mean, you talk about a room that needs help. It's defensive tackle. Now, you know, you did get you know, Quentin Jefferson, and you know, I think he played good when he played against Kansas City. But I think having a guy that really gets his nose dirty in the run game, like DeWayne Carter, I think if he's able to play, I mean, that's wonderful. Like, we need to see that. They need him bad.
Yeah, I mean, this is more of a Daquan Jones conversation, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Daquan hasn't been great this year. You know,
what happened, dog? What happened?
Man, he was playing like the rent was due before he got the contract.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you and I were all over them re-signing him, and
Flames.
It has been a disappointment this year.
Yeah, it really has, man. And again, you know, before people come in here and say, well, the Bills, you know, they invite you to run the ball, which I agree. But I think there's some things at the point of attack you gotta have, and you look at Daquan and you expect him to do certain things. It's just not working this year. I don't know why.
So, unfortunately, that leaves you in a situation where we're talking about the rookie third round pick. And yeah, I think he makes a difference coming back. He had played well, especially during the run snaps. Um, who's the other guy for the practice squad guy whose name?
Elianku.
Thank you, Elianku. Um, Played great on rundowns. And yes, I know the Bills' defense is designed to give up run and take away pass. But that doesn't mean that the people who are on the field when you're, quote, giving up run can't play well and
Right.
help you with that. You know
Right.
what I mean? And so, to have a package that you can put in where it's Elianku and Carter, and you kind of say like, hey, this is a run stuffing package, because Groot's a good run stopper too. And you probably go with Epineza at the other one.
Right.
Well, Smoot's healthy. Two Hill maybe, but you go with another big defensive end on the other side. All of a sudden, if you can play 4-on-5 and have those guys be effective stopping the run, that's what you need. That's what you need to run that defense.
And it kind of reminds me of the Tony Dungy led Colts. Some of the heydays in those years where very similar style defense to Sean McDermott's, and you saw them, that front four, they were pretty good against the run. And so you can be, a ball constrictor style of defense where we're going to let you kind of, live a little. And then when you get close to the red zone, we're going to suck the life out of you, pause. But you can have both worlds. You can have both. And it's okay to say, hey, like, I want my defensive tackles to be a little bit more stout against the run. I'm not saying they have to be these giant people eaters, but you gotta, there's times where it could be better, right? It could be a lot better. And so we're talking about a third round rookie who, in my opinion, has flashed. I mean, it's not crazy, but I think the Bills sense the same thing too, because they wouldn't have gone on and got Jordan Phillips and Quentin Jefferson if they felt confident in what they had in the room. So.
And I haven't really done a film breakdown of Quentin Jefferson, but everybody that I trust that does film breakdowns that's talked about him has said pretty good. Pretty good for a guy you picked up, well, it wasn't a waiver pickup, but you know what I mean. A guy you picked up off the street. So, the defensive tackle position does worry me a little bit because I don't think you have depth at defensive end. Which means that I just need effective play across that defensive line. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And think of it this way too. I felt like Daquan was much better as an anchor, and I think that's why we saw Ed Oliver break out and have the year he had, because Ed was more one-on-ones. He was getting a lot of one-on-ones, whereas Daquan was just eating up that middle. So there's good news and bad news. The bad news is you're going to have to ride this out with Daquan Jones just to see what's up for the rest of the season. But the good news is there's some guys in the draft that you can go get that could fill that void. I mean, you and I talked about Devondre Sweat, right? Have y'all seen him? Have y'all seen what he's been doing to people?
Could you imagine him in the middle of that? I know he really.
Yeah.
So, but isn't he more of a 3?
He is more of a 3, but he's so big and athletic, he can function as both.
Yeah.
At different times. You know what I'm saying?
Putting guys out of position. You know what I mean? But whatever.
But if you can do it, But yeah, so there's.
I mean, listen, I'm not crazy about sinking more assets into that defensive line.
I know you don't, but I do.
Dog, because you're about to pay Groot. You just paid Epinesa.
Mm-hmm.
You paid Ed. You paid Daquan, and now you're gonna sink another first-round pick into it.
I know.
Damn you!
But it's not right.
So many. I know, but you're using so many resources.
I know.
Chasing a problem.
And hadn't that been his whole tenure here? Like they've always chased the defensive line.
Well, yes, but like I don't love chasing a problem. If you remember the Giants winning the Super Bowl, their defensive line was incredible. And their defensive line was already incredible.
O.C. Umenora,
they
Tuck, Strayhorn. Strahan, sorry, Michael Strahan. They were phenomenal, dog.
Yeah, they were great. And you know what they did before that year before? They drafted OCU Umanura. You know what I mean? And it's like everyone's like, what are you doing? You have Tuck and Strahan. Why do you need Umanura? And you know what they did? They built a NASCAR package and they won the freaking Super Bowl. And so that's why I just don't love chasing. You know what I mean? I just want you to pick the guy who you think is the best football player somewhere where it can help you. And if you pick another wide receiver and you go 4 wides and you freaking crush people with that, great. If you pick another offensive lineman and you replace David Edwards and, move McGovern back out to, guard or whatever to try to make that offense, like, I don't have a problem with you picking somewhere where you have a strength, trying to.
But you're missing something, though.
Upper level of the NFL squad.
Your logic and reasoning is great, but you're missing a piece. So let's talk about it. So now there's so much cover 2 shells, right? You're not seeing we're seeing guys like Damar Hamlin give you great snaps, even though he's not the athlete that you would want at safety. I mean, like because of the coverage structures, but because of the coverage structures, I think you can get away with not throwing so many resources in the back end of your defense, whereas
I agree with you.
You're seeing an uptick in run production and so forth. So that's why I'm like, man, go. And this defensive end class, defensive tackle class is really good this year for the draft. That's what I'm thinking, man. You got to strike while the iron's hot, regardless of, you got to look at the trends, but you got to what position group is really heavy this year that's good? And I think it's the defensive line. So I wouldn't be opposed to taking a defensive tackle and a defensive end in the first
couple things
3 rounds.
So what you're saying, I think, is right. I'm not disagreeing with you. And guess what? Brandon Beane thinks you're right too. You know what I mean? Brandon Beane has said that, like, they looked at the impact positions that either you pay way too much for or you get in the draft, and it's defensive line, left tackle, and quarterback, and the rest of them you can kind of find.
Mm-hmm.
So I do understand that thought process, and creating a world where you're trying to make sure you have constant talent coming in there. I also understand what you're saying about Damar Hamlin. Yeah, you're right. 20 years ago, it was you better have a Sean Taylor or an Ed Reed or a Troy Polamalu who is dynamic and can make plays on the back end because he doesn't have any help. Everybody's up front, trying to stop the run. And over these last 10, 15 years, 10 may be too much. I'll say 10. But, over these last 10 years, this 2-high shell that Fangio has kind of piloted and brought in has made it so you do have help on the back end and you don't have help up front. And so, yes, you need dynamic playmakers up front instead of on the back end. I do understand all that. What's the hardest position on that defensive line to get?
It's
two-way D, right? Two-way pass rushing and run defending defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
You got one of those.
We got one.
Pay one, right? Pay him, but you got one of those, right? Then what's the second hardest position to get?
Oh man, defensive tackle.
I would say 3 tech.
3 tech, yeah.
Right? Somebody who pushes the pocket.
Yep.
What's the third hardest position to get? I'd say straight pass rush, right?
Right.
You're edge guy. I'm going to win a one-on-one battle, and you got 2 of those, theoretically. Okay.
I mean, come on.
Well, first of all, I think Von Miller is still that guy. I know you're not crazy.
No, I'm not. No.
But I think he's still that guy. If you need him to be your third best pass rusher, he's still that guy. Come on.
If you need him to be your third pass rusher, absolutely.
Well,
but
that's
the problem
why we're going
is
down the list.
The
right
problem
now. We're
is
going down the list.
Here's the deal. The problem is the Bills don't have a number 2.
And Oliver is your number 2.
No. I mean, from a defensive end standpoint, Epinesa is your perfect defensive end 3. He is not your number 2.
But he can win a one-on-one.
He can win a one-on-one, just not consistent. He's not a consistent threat on the edge.
So he's not great as your second best pass rushing option, but to me, he's fine as your third best pass rushing option.
Exactly.
And I'd say the same thing about Vaughn. He's not. I wouldn't want you to rely on him as your second best pass rushing option. But if he's your third best pass rushing option, then fine.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So now you have all of those pieces, right?
Yep.
What's the easiest piece on the defensive line to get?
Wow.
There you go. And you're going to waste a first-round pick on it?
Yeah.
You're going to burn a first-round pick
Absolutely.
on what we just went piece by piece and found out is the easiest piece on the defensive line to get.
Dog, I'm going to.
Linval Joseph.
If I can get impact, bro, you
Linval Joseph came off the couch last year.
Dog, I don't care.
And gave them good snaps. Did he
I
not? Did he not?
One
yes or no?
For you. That'll
yes
fix
or no?
That'll fix the Bills.
Yes or
His
no?
name is Kenneth Grant, University of Michigan. You stick that big motherfucker on this line. I don't Linval, Sinval. I don't care what Mississippi name you got.
Tell me he didn't come off the couch last year and give them good snaps at that position.
Was it good enough? No, I'm not giving you that, dog. Dog, where is he now? He ain't on the team. You know, you need a guy.
No, he's on.
He's not on the Bills. That's what I'm saying. I know he's out there. You know.
Yeah, because somebody else signed him because he played so well.
Nah, I need a young guy. I need a young guy that I draft that is cost controlled for the next 4 years.
Sink that many assets into one.
What do you mean you can't? That's what they do. You ask the Philadelphia Eagles how it works for them. And they do it all the time. Right? That's just it's nature of the beast, dog. And look at the dividends it's paying for them.
You're driving me crazy.
You just don't want to know. I get it. Like
Linval Joseph is 36 years old. He's playing for Dallas. He's played all 12 games this year.
Don't care. The Dallas Cowboys have done diddly shit against the run. Don't care. I don't care.
My point is that he's still in the league. And you found him off the couch.
Dog.
I'm just saying. So, listen, I love T'Vondre Sweat. Give me Jeffrey Simmons. Give me Vita Vea. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. I'm with you. Let's roll. But you spent a top 10, maybe your last top 10 pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
On Ed Oliver.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When's the next time you're getting a top 10 pick? Hopefully not for a real long time. And I don't think he was 10. I think he was actually 12, wasn't he?
Oliver was 10.
Was he 10?
9 or 10.
You spent maybe the last top third of the round pick that you have for a real long time on Ed Oliver, and you paid him.
Yeah.
Right? You spent a first round pick on Groot, and you're about to pay him. You spent a second round pick on Epinesa, and you paid him.
It's not what people want to hear. It is not what people want to hear.
You paid Daquan Jones.
Don't care.
A great contract for his first one and a really bad contract for his second one.
I gotta do it. I know. You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
So
and
many
if it's
not,
if it's not, the defensive line, you better be looking at cornerback.
That's an interesting conversation.
Right, you got to be looking at corner. So
that's a real interesting conversation because everybody loves Sewell, and Sewell apparently loves Buffalo based on his Twitter account.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't pay that man what he's worth.
You can't, man.
Unless he's taking some kind of a discount. He gone.
Yeah. And how comfortable do you feel with Kyrie Elam being your?
That's what I'm hearing from a lot of people. That's what I'm hearing from a lot of people is that Kaiir Elam in year 4 is going to be one of these, I don't want to call it a reclamation project because he was never good. One of these development products that we've seen them be very successful with.
Sure.
Hello, DeMar Hamlin. Hello, Terrell Bernard. They have these guys who have sit for a few years. They have turned into legitimate NFL starters, even as far as all pros, if you're talking about Bernard. Do you think Kaiir Elam has that in him?
I think it's over. I mean, in the sense that
I think I'm more bullish on him than you, but that's a big.
I can't go into next year hoping that he's something in year 5. I can't. I just can't.
Choice. Because if you're going to give contracts to Benford, Bernard,
that's why you got draft. That's why you're drafting. You got to. I wouldn't be mad if you saw 2 corners drafted, one early, one late.
Yeah, I'll take a late round corner, but I kind of want, and I don't want this player specifically, but something in this mold. I kind of want like a Levi Wallace, who's that real average NFL corner that I can bring in just as like a pull tab in case of emergency guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To put on the other side of Benford.
I don't know.
I'd like that and like a mid-round pick.
Yeah. I mean, it's not crazy to. Yeah. I don't know, man. And we're talking draft, right? And it's early.
Yeah, but
still,
it's a real interesting situation the Bills are going to find themselves in.
Just for shits and giggles, the Raiders and Chiefs just kicked off. So, the Chiefs are 13.5-point favorites in this game, but they haven't blown anyone out. So, looks like they're about to score a touchdown here. How do you feel about that game?
I feel like the Chiefs are vulnerable in any of these games, all of them. They almost lost to the Panthers last week, dog.
Do you think Aiden O'Connell's going to get them to a victory?
They almost lost to the Panthers last week, dog. Tell me I'm wrong.
Listen, I mean, but how many weeks can that? I mean, they can't just keep. I mean, come on, it's the Raiders. Now, Raiders did beat them last year, but
they're beat up too.
Yeah, Aiden O'Connell. Look, Mahomes is running for his life, and he throws. Oh boy. But
I think the Raiders cover here was my bet. So
yeah, I mean 13.5 in a division game. Yeah,
game. You're on national TV with everybody watching. You're the only game of the day. Like you just feel like everybody's going to bring a little bit of extra juice. You know what I mean?
Yep. I don't know, man.
Okay, are you running out of stuff to talk about? Because I had a couple of things I wanted to touch on.
One, Matt Eberflus got the can this morning, and mental health guys.
Oh, did he? I didn't even see that.
Yeah. I wanted to, he said it was a horrendous clock management all around, but what was more baffling, Caleb's lack of urgency and awareness, or Eberflus not intervening.
I heard a bunch of people going after Eberflus, which I understand. It's absolutely him first and foremost. But
Caleb he's got to take some responsibility too.
Thank you. I was arguing with Coach a little bit about this. The guy who I work with at my job, Altitude Sports Radio, Coach Mike Sanford, and he's been a head coach at the collegiate level and coached at Notre Dame, coached at Stanford. I mean, he's a big time college coach. He was like, that's 100% on the coach. And I'm like, I get it. I do believe that Eberflus has to wear that. But
yeah,
if you're Caleb Williams, he's like, Caleb Williams might not even have the ability to call a timeout.
Do you need a permission slip? Like,
right,
you're the quarterback. You're the franchise. Call the damn timeout.
Even if Coach had said to me, I call the timeouts, you do not call timeouts. When he had to adjust, I think it was Komet was not like on the line or was off the line.
DJ Moore. Both of them were like, yo, what? Looking at each other like, where's Waldo?
As soon as you do that, right, and there's 6 or 7 seconds left, as soon as you don't, like, take it. And I'll take my lashings in the meeting afterwards. You know what I mean? But take the damn time out. And then the other thing was he takes that snap with like 5 or 6 seconds left. He drops back. He hitches. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He drops back, he hitches, and then he throws it deep. Listen, if you don't have it, throw it into the ground. And because the ball has to hit something to stop the clock. So when you let that ball go with 2 seconds left and you float some deep shot, you're going to burn the last 2 seconds. There's no...
Right.
So if He looked like he was just throwing it over top. I'm kind of throwing it away. Dude, throw it at somebody's feet and stop the clock and maybe save yourself that 1 second. Yeah, it was crazy. Now, listen, I'm with the general consensus, which is as soon as you get sacked, you bang that timeout.
Right.
Right?
36 seconds left before the play was called. Like, come on, bro. Like,
plenty of
please.
time, especially like if you get a first down, plenty of time to get up and spike it and maybe even get another play on top of that. If you don't get the first down, plenty of time to fire, run the field goal unit on the field and kick a field goal even with the clock winding. Right? As long as you're prepared, as long as you talked about it in the timeout and you say, field goal team, you need to be ready to sprint on the field and kick a field goal in 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
There's plenty of time to do that. So the whole thing was crazy to me.
Yeah, man. It just if you're a Bears fan, man, you gotta be like just hands on your head, like what in the hell is happening here? It's just
I want you to think about their last 3 games.
Yeah, it's a rerun. It's Groundhog Day.
I mean, maybe the Washington one wasn't 3 games ago, but you lose to Washington
on a Hail Mary, where your guy was fucking taunting people.
You get into field goal range to tie it versus the Packers and get that kick blocked. And then you had this on Thanksgiving. I mean, you could be 7-4. You could be 8-4.
Yeah, man.
Something like that. You know what I mean? I mean, it's got to be. I would be so pissed if I was a Bears fan. So I'm not surprised he got fired, but I'm kind of surprised they actually did it. You know what I mean?
You know, real quick, hold one up for me because I got a live drive prop bet going that the Raiders are going to punt on this first drive.
Why? Why are you betting negative? Are you emotionally hedging right now?
No, I'm just trying to win money. And Aiden O'Connell sucks.
Hedging.
So
I don't think Aiden O'Connell sucks. I just think he's not good. I think there's a difference.
Is he Peterman suck? No.
No, Peterman's the third level there, right? Like,
right.
Peterman is atrocious. There's players that suck, and then there's players who are just not good.
Exactly. And he still has a job.
O'Connell is in the I'm not good level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not good. You probably need to find another level. But yeah, I just need them to punt. That's all. It's nothing hard. Just
I need them to score. I need them to score here.
See, you're not being a good friend right now. But
then you shouldn't have made a bet like that.
Well,
I want me to tell you, I don't want their first drive of the day to fail. I think that'll work on their mental.
But we're talking about the Raiders. Like the Raiders don't do anything good for us.
You want them to, and here's the thing, Doug. And I have to talk to people about this all the time. I get it. Bets. You care about your bets. You want your blah blah blah. When the game actually turns on, I care about my team and what affects my team. I don't give a shit about your bets. Okay. Well, so do you know what would help my team? Do you want to know what would help my team?
Yeah, Chiefs lose, obviously.
A 60-yard bomb from Aiden O'Connell to Brock
Okay.
So that's what I'll be rooting for. And if your bet turns out, I'm thrilled for you.
You ain't right in the head. You
just telling you the truth, dog. All right, a couple quick things I wanted to touch on.
Okay, let's
sound
go.
like you're running out of steam because you're watching a football game now. So.
Oopsies, got it.
See, there
love it, love it.
Micah Hyde has been the subject of conversation on some Bills channels lately. A few "I told you so" is flying around because he hasn't. Nobody's heard anything. People are assuming that it's over, that he's not going to come back, not going to get signed. But then I heard somebody say, I think they're better off with Hamlin than they would be with Hyde.
I don't know about that.
And they made the point of, the physical prowess wise, you're not getting prime Micah Hyde, which I do understand.
Sure.
But I wanted your thoughts on, have you seen enough from Damar Hamlin that you think you're better off right now with a prime Damar Hamlin than you would be with an out of his prime Micah Hyde?
I mean, it's kind of a push because what Micah Hyde doesn't give you. I mean, they're probably the same athletically. Even and Micah Hyde's in his, he's about forcing retirement, athletically. But what he does bring in terms of X's and O's to the table, I think, yeah, like I probably would rather have Micah to see what he can do out there. And DeMar hasn't been bad. He's just there. Like he's doing his job, and he's it's not egregious. It's not terrible. He's just there. But man, would I like to see a little bit more playmaking potential? Give me Micah Hyde right now. Absolutely. Like Micah Hyde's an old wily veteran that can, in the right situation, can make plays on the ball. I want takeaways.
Yeah, I want his head. I want his brain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the reason that I want it so much is because I've got such good playmakers at all the positions around him. If you've got Milano, Bernard, Johnson, Benford, Douglas, and give credit to Taylor Rapp, he's been playing well this year.
Really well as of late.
And being aggressive, making plays. So if I've got those 6 as the rest of my defensive backfield, and I add just the mega brain Micah Hyde back there, right? There's only one position where I'm yes, I see that they're punting.
Punt.
Calm down.
Punt.
Nobody cares about your fantasy team.
Cha-ching.
Nobody cares about your fantasy team.
Cha-ching.
But do you know what I'm saying? Like you're not making up an athletic difference,
right?
At like other positions in the defensive backfield. So,
yeah, I would like Micah back there for sure. I mean, and I've been tough on DeMar. I just like playmaking safeties. I don't want a safety back there that's just there and just like you don't see him. I want a guy that's going to take the ball away and make plays.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. I think I like that better at linebacker than I do at safety. Mm-hmm. And I think you have that at linebacker, So it'll be interesting. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is your boy Joe Brady. He is already leading odds for a couple different coaching searches to become head coach at one of these vacant spots.
Yep. There's a good chance that he's gone.
That's crazy. I mean, it's 1 year. That's crazy. But it's the NFL world that we live in. So, we didn't really do Bill's podcasting when Dable was a thing. I think you like him. But there were people who were thrilled to get rid of Dable. So, and I thought that was crazy. I couldn't tell you. But so, how do you feel about Brady exiting stage left here?
Well, the good news is you still got Josh Allen. I think that's the world we're gonna have to live in. You're gonna get offensive coordinators who are gonna come and they're gonna go. That's just the nature of it. Unless you get like get yourself a Spagnuolo on offense, this is what you're gonna get.
Somebody who failed as a head coach once already to come in and be your OC.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I was interested who you think would be the candidates to replace him. I liked what they did with Brady a couple years ago in saying he's going to be our quarterback's coach because you just kind of knew he was going to be the OC at some point, right? I don't think they have that guy on their staff right now. Somebody mentioned their quarterback's coach. I think it was David actually mentioned their quarterback's coach. Do you think they have a guy on staff? And if not, do you think there's a favorite to fill that position?
The guy who was our what's his name? Who went to the Giants and then he went to the Broncos.
Davis Webb.
Davis Webb. I would like him to give him the offensive coordinator job.
He is my number. He is the guy who I think is a slam dunk for that job because Josh needs somebody who. Josh works very specific ways. And so Josh needs, and he also likes his buddies. And he was buddies with Davis Webb. That's why he was around for so long. So I think he is a slam dunk candidate to replace him as OC. Now, he's only been a coach for a year, right? Like he was playing quarterback 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So he's only been a coach for a year or two. But he's been learning under Sean Payton, which is a different style of offense, which I think is great. And so you can kind of meld all those different styles that you have into one cohesive offense. He doesn't have any play calling experience, but I don't know. I think it would be interesting.
I mean, I want someone who I want a young guy who's cutting edge and is gonna bring more creativity and teach. And you can teach him, the rest of the stuff. But like, I want a savant, and those are hard to find, obviously. But yeah, I mean, instead of going, the old road that's been treaded, continue to go out and get your Joe Brady's and see, what you can get.
These coaches that have been fired that are offensive head coaches, let's try to think about them. I don't think there's anybody right now. It's just been Eberflus and Saleh so far.
I take Eberflus as offensive coordinator for Josh Allen. I take him.
He was a defensive guy, wasn't he?
Is he? I was thinking of Nagy. Sorry, I was thinking of Nagy.
Nagy, yeah. So I think he's back with Kansas City. Trying to think who's been fired in recent years that's an offensive head coach. I mean, you're talking guys like Reich. You're talking guys like Doug Peterson's going to get fired. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's going to be a big Buffalo rally for Frank Reich, I can tell you that. Why do you keep disappearing on me?
Well, because I got a crack in my Tesla window and someone's coming at 2:00. So my phone rings and I have to answer because I don't know if it's the rep that's coming out here. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you're going to have a large Frank Reich contingent in Buffalo. I don't know if I'd mind him as an OC. Definitely don't want him as a head coach, but I don't know if
I'd take him as an OC. I feel like he did a good job. Like with the Colts, I'd take him.
I feel like between him and McDermott, it's way too conservative for me.
Yeah, I mean that's that.
No,
I don't know, man. It depends. Deshaun, does he have his hands off the offense with Joe Brady? I don't know.
I think so.
Then why wouldn't you give Frank Reich the same?
But that's what I'm saying. He's too. I think Frank Reich's also too conservative. It's not just Sean. And maybe I'm not giving Sean enough credit because he has been going for it and stuff like that. But
I don't know, man. It sucks though because you're starting to really like Joe Brady and what he's doing, and it's like part of me is like, yeah, you want him to flourish and go get everything that he set his heart to, but for a selfish reason, you're like, continuity. Let's keep this train going. Now, if you get Daboll back in here, which won't happen because they don't like each other, you get Daboll back here. I'm good. I'm by Joe Brady. Like
to get Daboll in there, you would have to have Josh Allen go to McDermott
and say, "I need him. Y'all figure it out."
Say, "This is the guy." Listen, you don't have to talk to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I need him for the offense.
Yeah. Which I think could happen.
I don't think you will.
No, you probably won't.
I don't think you will. I think it'd be too messy for the vibes there.
God, if you get over your ego, man, and just come back.
Well,
I don't know who the problem was. They both are kind of assholes. It seems like, like, is it Brady? I mean, not Brady, but is it Sean? Because Sean's very regimented, stuck in his ways, and Daboll's the same way, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think the Bills are going to be in a tough spot, And I mean, if I'm Joe Brady and I get offered the Chicago job, you gotta. I mean, the number one thing you need to have is a good quarterback. So how do you not? You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't take your first, head coaching job with, some random draft pick. I think Caleb Williams has shown that he's a capable NFL quarterback, if nothing else. So,
Yeah, I mean, Caleb hasn't been bad. I mean, now I guess that little exchange yesterday was fucking awful, but the last three games, man, the guy's been playing well. Like he's keeping that offense in rhythm and on time. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he did not call a timeout is just like, okay, what are they coaching him to do? Like
yeah,
it's like, okay, Eberflus, like, did you not? I mean,
I think I
yeah,
think your best hope is if a guy like Ben Johnson wants
wouldn't
that
happen.
job.
It ain't gonna happen, dog.
What do you mean it ain't gonna happen?
Why would Ben Johnson leave?
For a head coaching job?
Oh, for a head coaching job. I thought for offensive coordinator job in Buffalo.
Oh no, I mean that would be awesome.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, I
no,
was
I'm
like,
saying your best hope is that Ben Johnson takes like the Chicago job, and it's like the Jets job is the next best one that's available, and Brady is like, nope, you know what, I'm going to stick in Buffalo for another year, like Ben
yeah,
Johnson did. You know what I mean?
right.
I
Yeah.
think that's your best case scenario.
And you want Belichick to get a job as well. That would help in that regard.
And Vrabel
And Vrabel.
start just filling up slots with guys who have more experience. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right.
The Chiefs are. I mean, the Raiders are just not showing any way they're going to stop the Chiefs today. First and 20, Kelsey on a deep crosser there. I mean, it's just.
I mean, listen, they are the Raiders, so this is what you get when you hire an interim coach. Let this be a warning sign for the Saints.
Mm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, man. I don't know, dog. Sucks. They suck. And you know what? They're gonna get rid of. They're probably gonna clean house in the off season, in the season.
If you're Shador, is that one of the places you accept going?
Oh yeah. You're
Even
the
with-
guy.
Yeah, but that ownership is
Bad. I know.
yeah.
And it's like,
Now,
is
here's
that
the
one
thing.
of the teams that Dion said he intervened, like, and say,
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Because one of Shador's mentors is Tom Brady. At least that's what we've heard. And Tom owns a stake. So are you betting that the ownership gets better because, Mark Davis will listen to what Tom Brady has to say?
Yeah. And who's to say Tom knows what he's doing? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Tom was the best quarterback of all time, but who knows what he is in the front office? Like he could be he could be Jordan in the front office. Right? Like, so, boy,
I don't know. I personally would not want to go to the Raiders if I was Shador, but Raiders, Jaguars, I'd probably not want to go to. Giants, I think you take it just because of the market, but I don't think I want to go there either.
Yeah, I'd rather go to the freaking. Well, I don't know. I mean, like for Shador, young kid in Vegas, all that money, like
dangerous.
It's dangerous. So you probably feel a little bit better if he was in, pair him up with neighbors and.
I honestly feel like the best team that he could land on is the Jaguars. I don't think the Jaguars are that far away.
But they're not going to take Shador when they just paid Trevor Lawrence all that money.
Unless you trade him.
I don't see it.
Are you not the one that I had this conversation with? I feel like
no, we did have this conversation.
I feel like this offseason is going to see a lot of quarterback movement.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence needs a new home. I just don't think the Jaguars are going to do it.
Okay, but so if you're San Francisco and it's coming up on you paying Purdy, would you rather pay Brock Purdy or trade for Trevor Lawrence?
Ooh.
Right.
That's like, I don't want either.
on either.
To pay Purdy, I wouldn't want to pay Brock Purdy $200 million.
I don't want to do that. But I'll take Trevor Lawrence and give him to Kyle Shanahan and put him on a team with a whole bunch of all pros and see if I can't get a similar thing out of him.
Dog.
Come on now. Come on now. That doesn't intrigue you at all?
I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Right,
it's not bad, but it's like.
And if
damn.
the Jaguars are in a place to take Shedeur, then they might be willing to do that.
Yeah. No, it's true. I don't know, man. I just want some more money off the Chiefs, by the way. Just FYI.
I think nobody cares. I think the Dak situation is super interesting. Cowboys have won a couple games here, so they probably get out of the Shedeur race, but you know, it makes you wonder if Dak is going to get moved there, even though he just signed a deal. I think the Tua situation is super interesting. I don't think the Dolphins would be against upgrading or even making a lateral move to a different guy because they're scared about Tua's health. So all these guys sign deals, but I don't think anybody's really locked in. I think you could have a lot of quarterback movement in the offseason. Sam Darnold's going to be a free agent. J.J. McCarthy's coming back there. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's room for a lot of quarterback movement this offseason. So,
I don't know. It's going to be interesting, man. I think, knowing where these head coaches are going to land first. But yeah, I mean, the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, man, you feel bad for the Jaguars. I mean, so who's to blame there? I mean, Trevor just hasn't. I mean, he hasn't been like what we thought he'd be coming into the league.
The owners and Urban Meyer is.
It's like it's rough. It's rough, man.
I mean, how much better did Trevor Lawrence get? With Doug Peterson. Imagine if you had hired like a real offensive savant, quarterback whisperer type guy. I don't know.
The results probably be different. I mean, he has the weapons, so like, what's the excuse?
I personally would not give up on Trevor Lawrence yet, but you got to send him to somebody who can rehab quarterbacks.
Yeah.
How would you feel about him in like Cleveland?
I like it because they have an infrastructure that says we're going to be good up front, and we can run the ball well, and then
Minnesota.
you can. Oh, that'd be the best. That'd be the best place for him.
San Francisco.
You give Shanahan that kind of quarterback.
Let's say, what if Stafford retires? L.A. Rams.
Oh,
I mean, come on,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
So that's why personally I'm like, I'm not giving up on Lawrence yet. I just think you got to send him to somebody who is going to help him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seattle's.
No.
I don't think it has the coaching staff to help him, but I think the defense is good enough to help him.
I mean, the offensive coordinator was the offensive coordinator for the Washington Huskies last season. Like, I'm good on that.
Okay, maybe he's better in a college type offense.
I'm not risking that.
But I'm just saying, like, there are places that you can send him where I feel much better about him than their current option.
Yeah.
And I think dominoes start falling then. I think as all these trades are happening, if the Dolphins feel like they can get a guy who is as good as Tua and doesn't have the injury problems, that they'd make a deal too. You know what I mean? Where does Aaron Rodgers go? What do the Jets do?
God, just let Rodgers
go
into
now,
his.
You've turned that into an old roster trying to win now. When it was a young, great defense, you turned it into an old roster now. So you better find a quarterback if Rodgers isn't going to play next year. I mean, I think there's a lot of quarterback movement.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of dominoes falling, man. It's nice. I love the offseason. I love it.
We gotten into it twice already.
I know.
Got a huge Sunday night football game to clinch the division against the Giants, and we've gotten into the offseason twice.
The Buffs just won 52-0, by the way.
Oh, I mean, I watched most of that game.
Oof.
Killing.
Travis with 3 touchdowns. Where do the Giants stand with Dayball? The belief is he is a good coach and hasn't really had a viable option at quarterback. Do you feel the culture has been improving? It sounds like the culture has not been improving. And I think, Rob, you and I talked about, like, before Dayball got a head coaching job that we were a little uncertain about, like if he was the leader of men. I think he's a great coordinator. I don't know about a head coach. But yeah, it doesn't help when you have Daniel Jones as your quarterback.
I think the offseason conversation that got blasted out on Hard Knocks that is making Joe Shane look like a total fool.
I'll take him back.
Cost both of them their jobs.
Yep. I'll take them both back.
Without that clip, I think people would say he took Daniel Jones to the playoffs. You know, they're starting to build this team in their image. Let him draft a quarterback and give him a year or two and see if he can turn it around. But I think because you have that clip with the Saquon Barkley stuff, I just think they're going to get fired in New York.
Yeah, it's a wrap, dude. You got to. All right, dude. Well, I gotta go get my windshield fixed.
I thought you were going to tell us about more of your bets.
No, I haven't placed another one, but but I'm going to here in a little bit. I got to get my windshield fixed, and they're going to be coming here to the house at any time now. So,
all right, Doc.
But hey, this is intentional grounding, and guess what? We'll be back. Well, Rob and I'll be back on Sunday for your NFL pregame show. But in the meantime, you guys live well. Happy post-Turkey Day and Black Friday shopping day, I guess. Is that what you want to call it now?
Hey, man, this is the one time a year kind of everybody gets 4 days off. So enjoy your 4 days off. Let's do it.
Let's do it. We'll see you later. Peace.